Welcome. My name is Jen Stifler, and you are attending the Zoom for Brain Health for All Students. And we are so glad that you are here tonight. Maybe you have found yourself or someone that you know, a student, a child, a family friend that has been struggling for a while with becoming and reaching all of their potential, whether it be from a neurological condition or something else. But you're here and you're in the right place at the right time. You are about to hear from three incredible women who have dedicated their lives to helping strengthen families and to have children succeed. And so without further ado, I want to go ahead and read their bios to you so that you can hear from these incredible women. First, we're going to hear from Kelly Cecil. I am a personal friend of Kelly, who actually tutored my daughter who had dyslexia for years, and I'm so incredibly grateful for her knowledge. Kelly was a desperate mom of two dyslexic kids with nowhere to turn for real help in her area. With a master's degree in education, she knew nothing about dyslexia, so she took matters into her own hands, left the classroom, and became a certified dyslexia testing specialist. She continued her education, is now a dyslexia specialist running New Hope Center for Dyslexia, where she screens kids for dyslexia, tutors kids with dyslexia, and mentors other professionals through becoming a dyslexia tutor themselves. She is also sales coordinator with the Juice Plus company, enthusiastically sharing the power of plants and the beauty of entrepreneurship with others, seeking new hope like she once was. So without further ado, Kelly Cecil, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here to discuss my favorite subject on the planet. Like my bio said, I had two children with dyslexia, knew nothing about it. I thought they saw things backwards. And really knew nothing about it. Master's degree in education, didn't even read a chapter about dyslexia, but 20% of the population is dyslexic. So think about that. In a classroom of, 20 kids, 20, 25 kids, we're looking at 5 or 6 kids in each class who have dyslexia. So this is something I think educators especially need to know something about. Am I right? So what is dyslexia? Dyslexia is an unexpected discrepancy between a child's intelligence and their phonological processing abilities. So these children are bright, they're very intelligent. If someone comes to me and I'm hearing, what I'm hearing from the parent is that the child is low across the board and I'm not hearing any strengths, I'm going to send them elsewhere. Can't be dyslexia. In order to be dyslexia, they have to at least have an average IQ minimum. So it's an unexpected discrepancy. It's an auditory processing disorder as well. Their hearing is fine, but these kids are often land in speech therapy pretty early on because it's the way they're processing the sounds they do hear. So it's also visual processing with some of them. Some of them have difficulty tracking visually. It taxes the working memory, which acts a lot like ADD, by the way. 40% also have ADD, ADHD. So a lot of my students are dyslexic as well as ADD, ADHD. So this is also something, an added, what I like to call roadblocks to learning. So these kids, I want you to understand, and adults, if you are born with dyslexia, you always have it. I've had people say, oh yeah, I used to have a little bit of that when I was younger. Guess what? You still have it. And it shows up, especially if you're tired or stressed, you'll definitely see a lot of those, what we call dyslexic moments pop up. So I want you to understand that someone that's dyslexic thinks in 3D. So if you're dyslexic, whether you know it or not, that doesn't sound weird to you, but I am not dyslexic. I hear my thoughts. I don't see my thoughts, but dyslexics see their thoughts. The only time I see my thoughts is when I'm dreaming. Okay. So you take a dyslexic who sees their thoughts all day long, send them to school where they are, giving nothing but a 2D world. They're thrown into a 2D world where they have to take flat 2D words and take it into their 3D brain. They need to process it and spit it back out in 2D. Okay. Their brains are working extremely hard. This is why if you are a parent of a dyslexic child, that child, when they come home, I can bet you they're unleashing on you. They're coming in, they're lashing out. I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads, a lot of bobbleheads. They are exhausted. They pent up all that energy. They come home and they just unleash, or they crash, or maybe they do both. I don't know. But these kids are absolutely exhausted. What they are working, I promise you, they are working 10 times harder than their non-dyslexic counterparts. When a dyslexic is reading, there's only one area of their brain firing, and it's at the back and the base of the brain. But when a non-dyslexic is reading, there are 3 areas firing simultaneously. So what I do with my educational therapy of my students is I am forcing that brain to use all 3 areas simultaneously. It is, the name of the game is repetition. It's monotonous. It takes a lot of concentration, a lot of repetition. It's not sexy, but it works. And it's the only thing that works. It's called Orton-Gillingham. Orton-Gillingham training is the only thing that works. But it's hard work for these kids because we're having to blaze new neurological pathways in their brain, and that's hard work. So we need these kids' brains working at optimal level, which is why I love Juice Plus so much, because when I was introduced to Juice Plus, what brought me to it was the omegas, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But these kids, they need to be, you cannot ignore the importance of nutrition when it comes to blazing new neurological pathways in the brain. You can't. We've made a lot of leeway in recent years, the last 10 years with brain research. We understand that we can actually change pathways. We can change the way we think. This is huge. But we can't be feeding our body junk and then expecting the brain to respond optimally. So I need my students. So I recommend Juice Plus to all of my students because I want their brains working at optimal level. I need them focused. I need them well rested. I took my oldest daughter, she's 26 and dyslexic and ADD as well. I took her to the leading ADD specialist in our area. And his name was Dr. Butnick. Phenomenal man. I had a very difficult time getting in, but I was a persistent mama, desperate mama, and I got her in there. And he told me, he's like, and we tried medication, we tried different things, but he said, I'm telling you right now, there are 4 pillars that if we can reach all 4 pillars with these students who are dealing with these, what I call roadblocks to learning. If we can if you are taking notes, get ready to take notes right now. The 4 pillars are, the first one is, he said, if we can keep all 4 pillars, you think about 4 pillars, keeping a roof level, right? If one pillar is missing, the roof's off, right? Well, with all my students, if they're off, we can pinpoint it to one of these 4 pillars every single time. We fix it, we get back on track. The 4 pillars, first one is 20 to 25 grams of protein first thing in the morning. These kids can't be thrown a waffle and run out the door. They can't have a donut and run out the door. No, we need protein. We need to get 20, 25 grams of quality protein in them first thing in the morning. Second pillar, these kids need to be on a rigorous exercise every single day. It's very important. I don't know, I lent my copy out, but there's a book called Spark. It's probably backwards. It's Spark. You can get it on Amazon. I would get it on Amazon because you're going to read it several times. By John Rady is his name. And it is the importance of exercise and brain health. And so I'm not going to get further into that, but they need rigorous exercise every day. That book backs that up. The third one is a regular sleep cycle. They need to be on a regular sleep cycle. And the fourth one was what I had the hardest time finding, which led me to Juice Plus to begin with, was the omegas. We all need omegas. Hear me on that. We all need omegas, but these kids need way more omegas than the average person. And Juice Plus has them all, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, quality. It's vegan, plant-based. My daughter was on a prescription form of omega that Dr. Butnick had prescribed to her. She gagged and threw up every time she took it. It was $350 a month. Crazy, but it worked better than any medication she'd ever been on. But now she's on the Juice Plus Omega. She said, this has worked better than anything I've ever done. She chews them like gum. She takes 4 a day. The adult dosage is 2. I have her take 4. You cannot overdose on it, and these kids need way more. So all of my students, I recommend they should, a child dose is 1. I recommend they take 2. I will tell you, in my personal experience, is fixing the nutrition, adding the omegas, and taking care of all 4 pillars, is it going to cure dyslexia? No, but it will help you overcome it. It's an added layer of support that these kids need. And I've had several students, once they started on what we'll get into later, all of the plant powders plus the omegas, one of them jumped 3 reading levels in 6 months after she'd been stuck for 2 years. Another was on 4 medications. He came off of all but 1. And he also jumped 2.5 reading levels in less than 6 months. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually over a few months, but I'm telling you, it's made a world of difference in my students. Another issue with dyslexia, ADD, these other roadblocks to learning is executive functioning as these kids get older. And Lauren is going to talk with you all more about that. So I'm going to throw it to Lauren so she can continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Lauren, let me introduce you. And Kelly, this quote, dyslexia doesn't come with a manual, it comes with a mother who never gives up. So thank you so much for being that example to each of us. So now we have the pleasure of hearing from an incredible young woman who is so knowledgeable in her field. And Kelly, who works with young students, Lauren helps with students as an academic coach through college. So here's her bio: National Tutoring Association certified advanced academic coach and a national board certified health and wellness coach. Since 2018, she has been coaching college students locally and virtually to help them build their academic and executive functioning skills in a way that honors their overall health and well-being, as well as their individual needs and unique learning style, personality, and strengths. Her mission is to help her students not only survive, but thrive through their college years and beyond by providing them the space and the resources to transform overwhelm to clarity, disencouragement to empowerment, and stress to success. She is currently working towards her brain health professional certification through Amen Clinics. Lauren lives in Lynchburg, Virginia with her husband and her 2 dogs. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for that, Jen. And if you wouldn't mind, could you please enable screen sharing? I have some slides to show.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Kelly. I love hearing anytime you speak. Your work has been really powerful in helping inform what I do as well.
Hold on, Lauren. 1 second. I want to make sure that it's your screen.
Okay.
And not mine. Bear with me. I'm going to do this as fast as I can. I need to roll over your name and give you share screen options. Sure. Okay, try that, Lauren. Can you grab sharing?
Yep, that works.
Okay, great.
All right, so let me go ahead and put this in presentation mode. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So today there's just a few things that I want to cover, and I'll try to be respectful of everyone's time because I feel like I could go on and on, especially when it gets into the foundations of health and wellness. And so some of the things I'm going to touch on today: the gut-brain connection, how supporting a healthy gut in turn supports a healthy brain, the foundations of health and wellness that support a student's healthy brain, and then the simple solution that I use for myself and that I'm now recommending to my students to help them just have optimal health, cognitive function, focus, and better immunity, just an overall better quality of life as a student. But first, why is this important? Why are we doing this today? We've probably all experienced for ourselves or seen students in our lives deal with some of the symptoms of poor brain functioning. So fatigue, brain fog, sleep disorders, moodiness, trouble with learning and memory. none of that's fun to deal with. Of course, we all want to have great energy, mental clarity, and ability to focus. And then when you bring into the picture mental health conditions, especially depression and anxiety disorders, we know it has just increased so much since the pandemic, especially in the student population. And then when we bring neurodivergent brains into play, you know, Kelly was talking about dyslexia. Many of the students that I work with have ADHD. And, you know, between the mental health conditions or neurodivergent brains, they have more difficulty in the executive function skills. I have this picture over to the right. This is by Sean McCormick at EF Specialist. And I just love this acronym because it shows, you know, all the different executive function skills. These might be things that, you know, a neurotypical brain or someone without these conditions may take for granted. They're all so important for a student's academic success. And yet, you know, if a student is struggling with, you know, has ADHD, that is a struggle for them. MRI studies show that their brain functioning is impaired when it comes to this. And so they need extra support. And that's something I'm really passionate about. So the gut-brain connection, some have probably heard the gut referred to as the second brain, and research in recent years is just learning more and more about how intricately the gut and the brain are connected. And, you know, as someone who has a passion for health and wellness, you know, I believe just in how important it is to have a holistic approach when it comes to our well-being. And a lot of that starts with the gut. So many of the health and wellness foundations that I'll be covering next, they all support a healthy gut, which in turn then supports a healthy brain. And so here are just some of the foundations of a healthy brain: physical activity, quality rest, connection and support, mindset, hydration, nutrition. And, you know, each of these could be a whole presentation on their own. So I'm going to kind of skim over some of the beginning. Of course, this is recorded. So if you want to go back to the recording to see the slides, or if you want to take screenshots, please feel free to do so. And so physical activity, Kelly covered that already. One thing I'd like to add to that is just new findings with balance exercises in addition to the cardio daily is something that's especially beneficial to students with ADHD. I recommend checking out Dr. Hallowell's book, ADHD 2.0, if you want to learn more about that. And two great ways to incorporate that could be through martial arts or yoga practice, but there's also more, you know, things that can be done from a dorm room, stuff like that, that can help students with ADHD to improve their cognitive function. And with quality rest, you know, we all know how important it is to have, you know, good quality sleep, consistent sleep, enough sleep. And so one thing I just want to add to that is the importance of having practices that help us build resilience against stress. So I like to look at that into two different ways. So one, what are we doing on a daily basis? And so for students, this would look like at least 20 minutes a day of quality relaxation. This would mean not watching Netflix. This would be something without a screen. Ideally, especially for ADHD, is if there can be some form of meditation. You know, this doesn't have to be the typical, you know, sitting cross-legged and closing the eyes and, you know, letting all your thoughts pass. That might not be an ideal form, but there's so many different forms of meditation. It could be a walking meditation. It could be mindfulness practice, something that just helps the mind and body connect, that helps over time build resilience against stress. And then, of course, having practices that can help the student in the moment when they're dealing with stress or anxiety. So one thing, you could look up the 5 senses mindfulness practice. This is really good for if the student is just dealing with lots of overwhelm, perhaps test anxiety. This is something they can do in the moment to tune into their 5 senses. And then a breathing practice that I like to recommend to my students is called the box breath. What I like about this, so, you know, essentially that's breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and then holding the breath out for 4 seconds. And you repeat that. So one of the times the students, you know, often deal with stress or anxiety could be during a test. And so I like to show them the visual of, if they're taking a paper test, to use the paper, you know, and look at that visually. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold that out for 4 seconds. And then if they're taking the test on a computer, they can do the same thing with the 4 sides of the screen. This can just help the body get grounded, get that mind-body connection to get out of that stress state and into a more calm and relaxed state. And these are also important for brain health too. I wish I could get into all of these. So I recommend taking a screenshot if you'd like to look into any more of these. And hydration. This is another area that's so important for students. So, first of all, the body is about 80% water. And each night when we sleep, we're losing some of that water. So one of the key ways to help with hydration is to start the day before having any other food or drink, to start with 1 to 2 cups of water. Even mild dehydration, that can impact the student's mood, their energy, their ability to focus. And so having water with them throughout the day can be such a help. There used to be the recommendation of 8 cups of water a day. That didn't really take into account everyone's bio-individuality. So a better marker of that would be to focus on half the body weight in ounces. Of course, more if there's physical exercise or hot environment. And then this is something I like to share. So oftentimes if a student is feeling dehydrated, they might go for a Gatorade or a vitamin water, some kind of drink that's known for rehydrating the body. The problem is that's loaded with, there's food coloring in that, loaded with sugar, and it's not necessarily healthy and sustainable way to rehydrate the body. But nature has a solution. So if you have water and you just add in fresh lemon juice or lime juice and a pinch of Himalayan sea salt, that actually is a natural electrolyte drink, unlike Gatorade, but fully healthy to replenish hydration. And then lastly, of course, we know our students, they love their specialty Starbucks drinks, and I see lots of energy drinks and all kinds of things out there. And so just having them know about some alternatives they can use, such as green tea, peppermint tea, things that are brain healthy, that can help them be more alert, but without causing that crash at the end. And then getting into nutrition. And so this is an area that, I'm really passionate about. What we eat has such an impact on gut health, and then in turn on the students' cognition. And so a whole food plant-based diet is so important, getting a wide variety in, especially a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, particularly berries. Wild blueberries are especially helpful for the brain. A high fiber diet through those plants also helps with their blood sugar levels. And, quality fat and protein sources is so important. And so one thing that is helpful, we all know the things that aren't healthy for the brain, right? Processed foods and fried foods, all of the additives and food coloring. And instead of just focusing on all the things to eliminate, I find that sometimes it's really helpful for a student to really think about what are ways that I can add in good nutrition throughout the day and crowd out the bad foods by adding in more good foods. So I just wanted to put this here. This is just one thought would be, focusing on one meal at a time. So a healthy breakfast. So a brain boosting smoothie recipe, this would be, starting the day with blending up a cup of dark leafy greens, perhaps spinach or kale. I recommend starting with spinach because you don't taste in the smoothie. A full cup of blueberries, 1 to 2 cups of water or unsweetened almond milk. What I like to do if you're, trying to completely avoid any type of processed food is to do water plus a scoop of pure almond butter. So that will still give the almond milk taste, but have it, completely from nature. A scoop of the vanilla or chocolate complete powder, and a teaspoon of cinnamon, which is also, so helpful for students and in a variety of ways, especially when it comes to ADHD. And then prep ahead oatmeal. This is something that can be really easy that they can, if they can just have access to boiling water, they can put the rest of this together. So with this would basically be throwing in a bag quick oats, chia seeds, complete powder, cinnamon, and then all you need to do is add boiling water on top, and you've got oatmeal that's great for the colder months. And then if it's the warmer months, I recommend doing overnight oats, and there's tons of recipes online for that. All right, and then lastly, the simple solution that I use and am now recommending to my students is Juice Plus. So, as a health coach, over the years, I had seen so many different, supplements and things that would, supposedly help people with their nutrition. And it wasn't until I came across Juice Plus in this research that I finally found a product that I really trusted, because it's not a supplement, it's actually whole food nutrition, which is what students, especially those with ADHD, need to just function at their best. And, my story, why I had become passionate about health and wellness in the first place, is because of my own, the health struggles of my family, who, one after the other. I was watching a family member go through cancer when I was in college. And, in turn, I didn't have these foundations of health. I wasn't aware of these ways to support the body. And so my own health was breaking down in college. And, even after that, for years, I was dealing with one health issue after the other. And so Juice Plus, this was this really simple solution that my doctor recommended to me. And once I tried it out, once I started seeing the research about it, I started realizing more and more, this isn't just for me. This is something that, I want every single one of my students to benefit from, because, I know from my own experience that it can be so challenging to get the quality sleep needed in college. The right nutritional support, the options can be really limited. And it can be so tempting to have those, those energy drinks and caffeinated drinks and maybe pull all-nighters, all kinds of things. And so, and the stress, the burden of that, and all the depression, anxiety, like there's so much on the students these days that, it's just, I just have become really passionate about sharing this, because I want students to have the best quality college experience they can have. These are such formative years, and every student deserves to be able to have that with good, from a place of good mental health, to be able to enjoy that without living by stress. And so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pass this along to my dear friend, my mentor and doctor, Teddy Brosey. I know Jen's going to read her bio, but I just want to add that I love to share that Teddy reads research the way most people watch Netflix. So when it comes to talking about nutrition and health, she is a very trustworthy source. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. That was wonderful. And it is true. She's so brilliant. Without further ado, this is Dr. Teddy Brosey. She's a family and lifestyle medicine physician in Virginia. She focuses on helping her patients prevent, treat, and even reverse chronic disease by implementing the 5 pillars of lifestyle medicine. She loves working with families in particular because of the generational impact that it can have on the entire family. Thank you so much, Teddy.
Thank you, guys. I love that, Lauren. That just warmed my heart. I've never had that comparison quite like that, but you're probably right. I probably spend more time reading nutrition research than I watch Netflix. Well, I'm so excited to see all of these faces on here, and I feel honored to be in the presence of these two lovely ladies. And I am always so thankful that folks have them as a resource, because in medicine, in traditional medicine, we don't have a lot of resources. You all are frozen for me. Can you hear me? Okay, good. I'll keep going. My internet's a little bit unstable, so hopefully I don't cut out. And so one of the biggest things that happens in my office as a family medicine doctor, I take care of people from birth till death, is they come to me looking for solutions. And it can be quite disheartening not to be able to have any solutions for them. And often they're coming to me in particular as a lifestyle medicine doctor looking for alternative treatments and things like that. And so when I learned about the power of plant-based nutrition in general for brain health, I was really excited to be able to share the power of plants as medicine, not only for things like heart disease for my older patients and diabetes, but also for anything brain related in children, young adults, teenagers, and even all of my adults with things like depression and anxiety. So actually, we could apply this conversation very easily to folks that have those kinds of conditions as well. And so I often get asked about supplements, and I was so incredibly fortunate to learn about Juice Plus. For my own family, like Kelly, I got enthralled in reading about it because of the omegas in particular is something I was looking for. And so what did I do? As a family doctor, I read all of the research, and before I was going to put anything into my body or my family's bodies, I was going to read everything about it. And what really drew me to it was how extensive the research was, and the fact that they could prove to me that what was in those capsules, and I don't know, Jen, if you want to share your screen, but I just want to show what we're talking about is when we could prove that when you were consuming all of this, which is what is in the quad, that it was actually what is called bioavailable, meaning that about 2 to 10 hours after, and we're going to show a picture of this here in a minute, is this like timeline of what happens in the body when you ingest Juice Plus. But about 2 to 10 hours after you ingest it, you see this rise in polyphenols. And this just shows us that, you know, the blueberries that are in there, you're actually absorbing them and they're bioavailable to do the good stuff in the body that it would if you were to eat a handful of blueberries. You also, about 7 to 28 days, will start to see other key ingredients and nutrients in the blood, like vitamin C, vitamin E, carotenes, folate, lutein, selenium, and all sorts of other things. One that was particularly drawing was at about 16 weeks, as you guys see on there. It's kind of small for me, so I'm going to read my copy because I don't want to get it wrong. It's particularly important. Significant improvement in better working memory, selective attention, processing speed, and executive function. This is done on Juice Plus capsules in human beings, right? So not rats. That's really important. We're not rats. We want to know that what we're taking is actually going to work in our bodies. And another one that was really important to me when I saw this was like improved immunity, fewer common cold symptoms, and sick days. And I was like, and this was after 8 months, and I was like, yes, I want to eat it all, and I need to share this with all of my patients the way that I share that eating a plant-based or plant-predominant diet is incredibly important, because we can prevent about 90% of disease. The things that walk into my primary care office can be completely preventable. And so this just demonstrates to me the power that food has, the power that plants have in food as medicine. And so I'm super excited to share this as another tool. And this is how I tell my patients, you know, I love those pillars that the ladies before me talked about in treating brain health, because they actually align with the pillars of lifestyle medicine. So we have nutrition, we have exercise and movement, we have sleep, we have relaxation, we have community and family, and we have substance use. Those are the things that we focus in prevention of all disease. And it's not surprising that they align so closely with brain health, because what's good for the heart is good for the brain, is good for the kidneys, is good for the skin, is good for everything. And one thing that I think, Kelly, you talked about, this sort of increased metabolic activity in the brain, because these kids have to work so hard. And it's you know, that fatigue that they experience. And there's really very few things that combat that except really good rest and really excellent nutrition. And I have personally here very recently gained deep appreciation for this because I suffered a concussion, which is a metabolic injury, right? And so the brain has to work metabolically incredibly hard to fix itself, to heal. And the first thing that was recommended to me by my concussion specialist was omegas in a large dose of it. And so that is what I started taking extra of my omegas as well, and was very particularly thankful to have the nutrition from Juice Plus during my healing journey. And so I think I want to stop there. I think we're gonna do a little Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Teddy. So maybe you're someone who's joined us and this is all new to you and you're just figuring this all out. We hope that you will watch this recording, that you will get back with the person who invited you. It might have been Teddy or Lauren or Kelly or myself. Please have a conversation with them if you want to know more about how Juice Plus specifically and the research behind it. It is a simple solution that has helped so many. And I'm a mother of a daughter who is a dyslexic. And it is incredible the days that she eats this and the days that she doesn't. So I'm very, very grateful for this simple nutrition. I'm going to stop recording, and anyone who would like to unmute and ask a question, please feel free to do so.